Hi, my name is Anna Mackesy, and today I will be talking about my group, which is the Irish, and discussing their immigration history and comparing it to the Italian immigration. Then I'll be comparing the Native American to the Irish immigration. Some background about Irish immigrants is that in the 19th century, the population decreased drastically. When the Irish immigrated from Ireland from 1820 to 1930, there were 4.5 million people that arrived in America. When they arrived, they ended up working the jobs that native-born Americans didn't want. They came to America and began their lives with low social and economic status. When they first came to America, they were part of a big wave called poor refugees, called the Potato Blight. In 2017, about 10% of Americans identified themselves as Irish Americans. Now here's some background on the Italian immigration. It was one of the third largest waves of immigration called the New Immigration, where the old immigration was the Irish. When they started coming to New York in the 1880s, they were faced with fierce optimism from the Irish, who did not want to work for less money and less hours. Poverty was the main reason for immigration, but political hardship had the dream to return to Italy with enough money to buy land were motivators. And there was also agriculture. Political hardship was an anarchy and socialism. Italians came to America to escape the political policies at the time. There was a lack of technology for farming, and there were harsh living conditions. Some farmers lived in a one-bedroom house with no plumbing or privacy. Landlords ruled the land and charged a lot of money for rent. Farmers only earned about 16 to 30 cents a day. Some conditions for the country were compelled to immigrate is that the majority of Italian immigrants were laborers. They left because they did not have much experience in the industry, such as mining and textiles. Some of them were craftsmen. They could read and write, and that was it. Some were carpenters, bricklayers, tailors, and barbers. Some ways that the Irish and Italian are similar are that the Irish moved to America. They began their lives with nothing and started at the bottom with all odds stacked against them. Another way is that they shared the same faith of being Catholic. Lastly, there was an anti-immigration group that viewed Italians and the Irish as unfit Americans. A difference is that even though they shared the same religious beliefs, the Italians were seen as superstitious because of their devotion to saints. I think that my group has been fully able to assimilate to the mainstream society. They used to fit in cramped spaces and alleys, which eventually became their new homes. Now they're able to afford homes and places other than alleys and cramped spaces. I also think immigration is a better way for new groups to assimilate into society because it gives them something to look forward to and something new and different and maybe even free from the past. I think that the Blauner hypothesis is applied to the Irish because the minority groups experience intense prejudice, racism, and discrimination. Verbal attacks often led them to mob violence because of what they believed in. In the 16th century, the Native Americans were brutally forced into Americanization by government through relocation. In 1838, the Removal Act was passed, which forced natives to leave, which then federal soldiers entered the Indians' territory and removed them forcibly. They sent the children to boarding schools miles away where the native religion and Native American language was forbidden. Where the Irish immigrated in the 19th century, they worked the jobs that the native-born Americans didn't want to work. Some things that are similar between Native American and Irish immigrants are that both of their tribal lifestyles threatened the British and their living styles. The Native Americans and the Irish were treated as savages. Thank you for watching my presentation on the Irish immigration. I am Anna. Bye.